Tubers and footers, how's it going? Woohoo! Hi, Seven Pearls. Here's Dad. Dad's with us again tonight. Woohoo! We're gonna do the bonfire. Hopefully it'll take off. The guys are down there. So while they're down there, we can chat up here. It's okay, Dad. It's okay. So, anything fun to talk about tonight? You have any good stories to tell, Dad? Other than what a great kid I was?
We're going to go through that again?
Well, yeah.
Out of 6, you're somewhere in there between 0 and 6.
Wow. Hey, Scotty. He said, hi, Jackie's dad.
Hi.
His name's Ron Page, or Krusty. Krusty. Woohoo. You having fun now that you're back in Alaska, Dad?
Yep.
Let me put some glasses.
It's white. That sounds prejudiced, don't it? It's white. Talking about the snow.
Yeah.
Snow.
Everywhere you go. Yeah, he was getting burned it up.
It's supposed to snow again.
You live right near where I was born. Hey, Flat Rock. Says, hey, Dad. Hey, Iron.
Flat Rock.
Yep.
Where'd Round Rock go? Or Split Rock?
Pyromedic, hey. Hello, Ron. What do you think that weird sound was outside the cabin last year? Oh, you weren't here for that.
It all depends when it was. Might have been my daughter outside.
Yeah. Hey, Sherry. How's it going? Say Jackie and Dad. Oh, whoa. I flipped it around and you guys got the glare off the window. Fancy that. 7 Pearls. Hot cocoa for all. Yay. The guys are down there getting the pile ready. We stacked some more, they stacked some more spruce on it, and it was all dry. Hoping that would, help facilitate things. They're down there
Good
with a
answer.
flashlight.
Who
Does
was that?
Ron know much about Port Chatham, Alaska?
Not a lot. I know a lot about potluck.
Portlock is where they abandoned the town because of it was wild man activities out there. Like one guy was beat by a piece of equipment that was taken off of the machinery that no human could have done. And then, why, thank you, 7 Pearls. John Hawks, hi. Says hi. And so the whole town ended up leaving Port Chatham, and they
I've
had
heard of Port Chatham, but Port Locks, I
fishing.
don't know.
Yeah, that's in that area. Portlock is, yeah, the place.
Sound like a place I want a cabin at.
Yeah, right? Let's do it. Wyatt Cress. Purple and gold. And those royalty colors. Yay. So my dad was in the Navy as a diver. Class diving.
First class, deep sea, hard hat, scuba.
You were in those cool suits with the shunk. C5 stuff, right?
The helmets.
Yeah.
Yep, them two.
And walking on the bottom of the... Hey, Sharon. Walking on the bottom of the ocean floor. Didn't you have to rescue someone that was drowning?
Not really.
In...
I tormented a lot of people and made them think they was drowning.
Nice. No such thing as cold or dark or sharks. Way down in the deeps.
We act like they have training like we was going to rescue people in a sunken sub. We go down and hook a bell to it, and somebody makes a mistake and the cable snaps and away we go. Popped up out of the ocean like a cork or a balloon. That was a wild ride.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it wasn't very fun. You're going to go like a cork. Hang on, boys. We're in for it now.
Shake hands with the departed to eliminate fear. Did he see anything he couldn't explain while in the Navy?
Yeah. Orders from officers.
You were a troublemaker, huh?
I don't know. They were.
They were. Okay. Wasn't there someone that drowned in like less than 4 feet of water?
Yeah.
What was that about?
We was on a diving job in Iceland, and the military leases a lake for the military for recreation. It's way out in the middle of nowhere in Iceland. And these two Air Force guys went out there in a boat, and they capsized it, a little skiff. The one swam to shore, the other one couldn't swim, and he drowns. So when we landed, we took a 11-hour truck ride up there to find him. We find him. He's in 4 foot of water. If he'd just stood up, he would have been all right. But he panicked, frailed around until he drowned. And that's a fact.
Wow.
Water was only 4 foot deep.
And he drowned because he just was flailing.
Yeah, he panicked.
Eesh.
It happens, sad, but
Wow, and that was in Iceland?
yeah, that was in Iceland.
Wow. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hey, Lester. We're waiting. It's the guys went down the hill to start working on it. We're gonna try part 2 tonight. We'll see. If it doesn't go, we're gonna wait till spring. Right?
Spring, then it'd be flooded. Then we have to wait for winter again.
We'll have a whole new issue on our hands. Yeah. Fear of the unknown.
I think it's only 9 degrees out.
Is it? I forgot to check. I don't even know what time it is. I don't even know
It is 7:45.
Is that Alaska or California time?
Alaska.
Okay. Oh, hey, Lester. I even went on Hidden Existence with Daniela, too. That was fun. Claude told his some of his experiences and shared a lot with us. Did you do any underwater welding?
Yes. Dad? I was good at it because I suck at welding on the surface. That's true. People that can weld on the surface usually don't weld very good underwater.
Okay. I was gonna say, I don't know if you could be my nemesis if you can't build a good bonfire. Hey, Shanji. Welcome. This is my dad. Oh yeah, Mike, this is my dad. Meet my dad. Go ahead. Pick on me. I dare you. I dare you. I got my dad with me now.
There's a lot of open space up here.
Oh, I couldn't resist that. Couldn't resist. I'm gonna tell my daddy on you.
Jackie was spoiled when she was a little girl. She had her daddy take care of her and her two older brothers. She had a lot of dates.
No. Zero, zilcho, nada. They're like, who's your friend? Nah, no. Sorry. Yeah, no.
Where did he grow up? Is that what he said?
Do tell. Mike wants to know more about shotgun with rock salt.
Why waste good rock salt?
Oh, what type of vessel were you on?
ARSs and ASRs and ATFs.
Oh, Carl Brashear.
What about him? I was stationed with him 3 different times. I was Washington, D.C. when he got his master diving certificate.
That's awesome. I have that photo of, well, I don't have the photo. I gave it back to you, but the photo of you with him. Doing okay, about to call it a night. See what the eyelids are up to. Yeah, what the brain decides to conjure up, huh? Patrick Vaughn, hey. You guys could talk a lot about, he's a tracker. Patrick Vaughn's a tracker. And he's into, oh, sorry, I thought I saw part of the bonfire.
Yep, they're getting ready to.
Should I flip the camera?
Not yet. Wait till it starts.
Well, they might want to see the launch.
Okay.
Well, not, I guess.
Go ahead.
Okay, the fire has been thrown. Let me flip the camera around and let me dim the lights so you guys can see here.
Like Lee.
Boogie, boogie, boogie. Oh, gotta shut my pink light off.
Marshmallow time.
Shabam llama. Okay. Now, now we're in the dark.
Hang on a second, Jackie. I'll give you a light.
Let's hope. Oh, there we go. I can see now. Thanks, Dad. All right. Okay. Let's see, do I have this positioned right? Here we go. Let's try. Let me lift you guys up a bit. If I know how to operate my equipment. Who's got the hot chocolate? Dun-dun-dun-dun. That twinkle just got thrown on there. Oh, sheesh. Here we go. Hopefully. Do I need to reposition? I think I do. Oh, boy.
We got a fire.
Fire, fire. Fire in the hole. Let's try this. Yeah, get some brats down there. Holy moly, that's a good flame. Sorry, you guys, I'm trying to... Wahoo! Okay, that is super dry. Spruce down there. Oh yeah, could you imagine if we dumped some of that stuff on there? That thing would take off. But I don't want to pay the fine for that. All right. Woof juice. Yeah, I know. I wish. That stuff's really dry. It should just keep going and going. They've been working on it all day. They took a chainsaw. Where'd you graduate from, Dad?
Military or school?
Well, school. Military.
San Diego.
San Diego. Oh, wow. The iPhone always puts on these little green funky things. That. Nah. Look at it. There we go. Fire! Let's see. We can zoom her in a little bit for y'all.
We're sending messages to outer space.
Outer space. Oh, we're not. Oh, the flame's getting a little bigger. A little flicker. It's a little flicker. It's a flicker of a flame there. Woohoo! All right. Awesome. Okay. Any more questions for my dad? He also was a heavy equipment mechanic up here in Alaska and has been all over the state. Hey, Joe. Yep, this is round 2. We're going to see if this actually takes off tonight or if it's just going to burn all the dry stuff and then say, nah, I'm done. All right. I got to go do some grass dances down there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't give up faith yet, fire. Isaac, hello.
Into the snow now.
Yeah. They went in there and cut, like, with the chainsaws into the different areas to try and break that up. And I don't see them down there. I think they're coming up the hill.
Saying you don't get the sparks very good. Yeah, I'll lose you.
Oh no! Look, is it gonna fizzle out?
It might.
Yeah. Oh, what I did for work, I was in IT. I started very, very young, right straight before I even graduated high school. I started working at BP. Well, it was Standard Oil way back then. And
Stop it.
I worked in there in computer operations and then worked all the way through, just pretty much. I mean, way back then, we had card sorters and reel-to-reel. So, I mean, I go way back when and did mainframe programming and all of that. And so, I was really looking forward to this point in my life where, you know, I would have all of that background programming and computer knowledge. But my health had a different plan, apparently. But yeah, right now, if I could get back into it, oh my gosh, I would be raking in the dough. But yeah, I would do main, hey Michael, big, huge conversions and data transfers and system changes, all of that, major upgrades, like major system upgrades, entire mortgage systems, banking systems, all of that. So that's what I did. Hey Donald, welcome everyone. If I'm missing you, sorry. I'm looking out the window. Michael Haywood said hi, Dad. Yep, Dad's
Hi.
here. You guys can ask Dad any. Oh, there's the guys on the lake. Can ask him any questions. Christina, hey. I don't know if you guys have checked out Christina's channel. She's got some cute little dachshunds. Oh my gosh, I hope I said that right. I always screw it up. They are so cute. So Patrick, do you have black powder rifles? How many black powder rifles do you have, Dad?
I don't know. At least half a dozen, half a dozen pistols.
Woo, baby! Fire, 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 fire. Oh, Dad, was iron a handful growing up?
No, 2 handfuls.
What? That was a perfect job.
Actually, Jackie was easy.
Yeah, you got to meet my siblings for that to make any damn sense. Well, you kind of know my sister a little bit.
They ain't alike.
Nothing. Well, a little bit. Has your father ever had any Sasquatch encounters or stories?
Only in my dreams.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about your dream, Dad. That blew me away.
I dreamt I was raised by some Sasquatches before they was even thought of.
Wow, when you were a kid?
Yeah. I'm 80, be 81 this month, so probably 70 years ago.
Wow. That's wild. Alaskan Walker, welcome. How do you feel, Dad? You feeling good?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, except for my knees.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Patrick says he's got a 32 percussion, a 410 percussion, 50 flintlock, 45 flintlock pistol.
Yeah, I got a 28 squirrel gauge, a 32 squirrel gauge, a 45 rifle, a 50 rifle.
See, Patrick?
44 stainless Ruger. A bunch of 45s, old armies, all black powder.
He said, awesome. Did you see anything underwater? Let me go back. Iron, did Dad ever see anything strange underwater he couldn't explain? From Sharon Guy.
Just different fishes.
Just different fishes?
Different colors, different shapes.
When you were in Antarctica, did you dive while you were down there?
Not in Antarctica, off the coast or off the ice shelf.
Wow. What was that like? What was the temperatures?
I don't know.
Do you remember?
Water's probably 34 degrees.
Really?
I spent 7 months diving in Iceland.
7 months. Ooh, maybe you were a Sasquatch in your other life. That might explain your dream. Oh, that's a good one, Sharon. Yeah, he just spouted that off the other night. I had never heard that dream story. Maybe iron will light a fire underneath you. Patrick, look out. Aw, Seven Pearls, you're so sweet.
Well, that ain't.
I'm so glad I inspired you to do some videos. I love your videos. Attack us. Roar! Like that?
It ain't hard to toast marshmallows right now.
I know. Let's see, Donald. I had a hallucination experience while I had pneumonia at the age of 10 years old that involved what I called goblins at the time, but they were Sasquatch. Wow. Oh, fever dream. Isn't that what they would call those, fever dreams?
Probably. Hallucinations.
Debbie, hi. Welcome. So okay, Christina, because I have big... To Krusty, how did you feel about Jackie doing the Iron Dog?
How did I feel about it?
Yeah.
Well, I was worried about her, but other than that, I was happy for her. But I didn't get to see her finish.
No.
Oh, well, I didn't get to see her take off even.
Mm-mm.
Bad dad, just a bad dad.
Oh, you're in King Salmon. Far, far away. A little busy. And little goblins. Hey, Batmom. MPW, hey. Wee. Is the Iron Dog anything close to the Iditarod?
No.
No, not at all. The Iditarod run, they have dog teams, and they are about 1,000 miles. And the Iron Dog is on snow machines or snowmobiles. And we go over 2,000 miles. They keep adding to it every year. But it is on the Iditarod Trail. Like, with the first section of the Iron Dog is the Iditarod Trail. Well, it depends on if they flip it. Sometimes they start from Wasilla and go up to Nome, which is the halfway point, and then Nome over to Fairbanks. And now they've added a Kotzebue loop while they're in Nome. And every few years they flip the race and then start in Fairbanks and then go to Nome, do the Kotzebue loop, and then come back down to Wasilla and finish in Wasilla. What made me want to do the Iron Dog? Well, I grew up riding snow machines, and when the first women's team, which is one of my dear friends, when both Laura and her friend Lisa started, I was super stoked for them, and I thought they were gonna win. Like, Laura is an exceptional racer, and so when she didn't finish, I just felt like this overwhelming, like, and even before she started the race, I was like, I felt like that I was made to run that race. It was just like, I still feel to this very day that if my body would let me, I'd be out there in a heartbeat running it again. But I felt like deep in my soul, I was made for that race. Everything in my life trained me for that race. And so, so when they didn't finish, it was like, I mean, I remember standing at the copier at work and went, oh yeah, the Kuskokwim, it's a good race. I was standing there at the copier and was like, I gotta do it. I just gotta do it. And so, trained and, made a plan and went for it. And that was... like, there's quite the story with that. Hey Joe, the history of the race. Well, the Iron Dog began in 1984 basically on a bet almost, but and you figure what kind of equipment they had in 1984. You know, and they didn't do, it wasn't 2,000 miles then. It was the Iditarod Trail at that point, and that was the idea, was to break ground for the Iditarodders. And so that's pretty much how it kind of got off and started. And so every year, half of the field does not finish because it's that brutal of a race. So, you know, out of 32 teams, you know, half will not finish. And that's usually for a lot of reasons, because you're not allowed to work on your snow machine in a garage until you get to Nome. Now they allow you to have pit crews and stuff, so you can have pit crews there to work on your stuff. A lot has changed as far as strategy wise. You know, back then you had to plan all of your layovers and how long you were going to take in a layover, you know, and that was a major part of the race, was the strategy, because a lot of times people's strategy would make or break their race. Hey, Uncle Bones. So, yeah, it's pretty intense. And then you get out there on the rivers towards the last section up in Fairbanks. And we had, it was 60 below. We're going over 100 miles an hour because we are just taped because it's on the river. It's flat, just anyhow. So those kind of wind chill temps are off the chart. You know, you get off your sled and it's like, okay, don't touch anything for a few seconds. Just make sure it doesn't crack apart. Yeah, it's basically the Baja in snow, on snow machines. And the thing with the snow machines is everyone has the same basic type of sled. They have to run 600 short tracks with an 1.25 inch paddle on it. So, you know, and you cannot change out your whole suspension. You know, there's a lot of rules to the race. So, it's pretty, it's an intense race. And so each checkpoint is about 100 miles apart from one another. The go-to brand was Polaris for many years, Joe. And then when Skidoo changed up its entire, the whole entire, I mean, it changed everything. Now the brands are becoming a lot more competitive, but pretty much Polaris dominates. No, I was not a mom. I was not married when I did the Iron Dog. Yeah, Lester. Yeah, I'm telling you, those big old eyes when we a little unnerving. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and go back through the comments here. Yeah, Isaac, yeah. Those sleds are all customized. It's pretty awesome. Woo! Here we go.
And you just threw like a spear into it.
Shapunk. How long is the Iron Dog? It's 2,000 miles. We did it in 5 days. It's pretty much. Now it's 2,400 miles in 6 days. Alaskan Walker. Mom raced back in the day on the Kuskokwim. Now, those were some awesome races. Yes! Those women back in the day racing the Kuskokwim and those kind of races are the shiz. So, Missy was my partner. Oh, they got a leaf blower down there. That's what they're doing. Okay. Snowmobiles back then were, let's see, how much were they?
Price-wise?
Yeah, I think they were just under 10 grand each. They hadn't quite crossed the 10 grand barrier, but by the time you were done with all the modifications, yeah. So you had to have a training sled, a practice sled, and a race sled. So there's...
What year?
The year we ran was, well, it was 2000 practice and then 2001.
I thought you was talking about the first ones.
Oh, the first, 1984 was the first year of the Iron Dog.
It'd probably be under 5 grand then, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Those guys were like wearing Levi's and Carhartts. No suspension. Ugh. John Feo, first champion. He is like the Dale Earnhardt of the Iron Dog. Oh yeah, I paid $4,200 for my 468 Formula. Formula X, yeah, and 91, new. Did you get on a sled once? Almost cut a pine tree down the hard way. What? I think I missed something there, Patrick. Yeah, and the Iron Dog goes over the Alaska Range, which is part of Denali. Yeah, so each team is spending, you're looking at, just to pull up to the starting line. Now this was back then, in 2001. Just to pull up to the starting line, it was 50 grand out of the pocket for sleds. That's why you get sponsors. That's the key, because by the time you're done training and pulling, I mean, just pulling up to the starting line of the Iron Dog, a lot has happened. Yeah, so the Iron Dog crosses over a lot of private property and native property. And so because of that, there are sections that you have to stay on what is considered the trail. There is no groomed trail. Oh, yeah, Donald, if you want to hear something interesting, Todd Palin broke his arm. The year that, I think that was, yeah, it was 2010. I was race marshal that year. Todd Palin broke his arm and still finished with over 500 miles with a broken arm. Finished the Iron Dog. He didn't say anything, because had he said something, he'd have been pulled. Yeah, I had no idea, and of course he comes across the finish line, and I grab that broken arm and give him a big old shake, shaking his hand, congratulating. The look on his face, I was like, oh, what's that? What's that? Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Tough as nails. There were racers back in the day, because the checkpoints were about 100 miles away from each other apart, and some of the checkpoints only had barrels of fuel there with a pump that you would have to pump No, I had no idea, Patrick. Don't say it was mean. I had no idea. I didn't know his. I, di- I didn't know his arm was broken. God. Joe, Squatching Cowboy. My dad's here too. You guys can ask my dad questions too. It's funny. Yeah, if it was fractured and then the 500 miles he rode definitely did it in. Until now. As a teen, I worked for a shop in town. The owner told me how to rebuild the carb of an old Arctic cat. When I was done and it ran, he gave it to me. Oh, right on. Those old Arctic cats were snarky, man. Snarky.
There's a sled with a motor on it.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. Oh gosh, that one Yamaha you had. Let's see, how many different sleds have you had over the years?
I don't know,
Dad?
77, we had 7.
Yeah, those were the fun days. Red Arctic Cats. Didn't you have that? What was that one race sled you had? Was that the
Yamaha.
Yeah, that Yami.
344 or something.
71 Arctic Cat EXT. Around a restore. Nice.
Then we had the old heavy Mercury. We had the Wanko Arctic Cat rotary engine.
Dad, was Jackie a child? Wait, Dad, was Jackie a child that you wanted to give NyQuil to so you guys could get a moment of silence?
No, that was her sister.
I want to give my youngest NyQuil sometimes because she's a character. Yeah, see, that was my sister. I was a perfect child. No one believes me, but I was. Jackie, let's see. You learned how to drive before you walked. Pretty much. Yeah, no, I watched all my siblings act a fool. I didn't have to. I watched and learned a lot.
Your youngest didn't.
Yeah, my sister didn't. But, you know, like I said, I watched and learned. Did you have to go to acting school? No. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine me in no acting school? I'm a terrible liar. I am the terrible liar. Why even try? Where am I in the birth order? I'm the middle. So we have Nailby Jean. And then we've got John, Jerry, Perfection, and then my little sister.
Then along come Larry.
And Larry. Little Larry. You're the youngest of 5 sisters. Oh, wow. Yeah. Boy. I always wished I had an older sister to teach me all sorts of the cool stuff.
You
know?
did, but you're too far away.
Yeah, exactly. We're too far away to learn how to do makeup and hair and all that kind of fun stuff.
Wouldn't done you no good. You weren't allowed to wear it.
Well, there's that too. There is that.
Go ahead and tell them about your mean dad. Go ahead. Tell him.
What? You were super strict. Yeah, I had a job Okay, I worked at the daycare at 14. I started working really young, and I used to babysit even before that. So when I was 14 and able to get a job at the daycare, I was working at the daycare, earned a living, and I got myself this awesome tank top and shorts for the lake, and we were gonna have a lake party. And yeah, so me and my friends went shopping, and we all got cute outfits, and I was so proud of my outfit. And when it was time for us to go, I got all dressed up, and out I come strutting out of my room like, yeah, we're gonna go party down at the lake. And my dad said, thanks for the new shop rags. You ain't leaving the house dressed like that. My friends were like, what? And I'm standing there just about to just like defend myself here. And out comes my little sister, choop, 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 choop. And she's in a halter top and short shorts. And she just strolls right out the door. And I said, oh, well, what about her? Yeah.
And what did I say?
Yeah, Dad, what did you say?
Look at her. She looks like a board.
Yeah. So, back to the bedroom I went and had to change. And I had to hand over my brand new outfit that I wore for approximately 10 minutes. And Dad used them as his shop rags. He did. He did. They were in his garage as his shop rags. So, strict. Very, very strict. Bad influence. I'm a bad influence. I just wanted to wear shorts to the lake. It was hot.
Yeah.
Scotty sounds like me with my girls. Oh yeah, Scotty.
Okay, can they hear me?
Yeah.
How about somebody out in front of the house at 3 in the morning calling your name?
Oh, okay. We're gonna go through this again. That was Jerry's friend.
I don't care. They wasn't calling Jerry. They was going, Jackie, Jackie.
He was looking for Jerry.
Hey, that's what they say, but he was calling Jackie.
Whatever. So my brother's friend comes rolling into the cul-de-sac in the wee hours of the night. And I was on the upstairs floor, up above my parents' room, okay? But that's where my window was. And he was hollering, well, not hollering, he was kind of hollering. He's like, Jackie, trying to get my attention. So I look out the window and he's like, hey, where's your brother? And before I could even answer him, here comes my dad rolling out the door, guns in hand.
In my shorts.
In his undies. Chasing him out of the street. So, yeah. Yep. I got asked out on dates all the time. All the time. Guys really were up for a challenge. And then the one guy that was in a whole different, like I was like, okay, he doesn't know my dad. He doesn't know my brothers. Yes, finally, he comes to pick me up for a date. And you think it's a joke when they say that your dad, is cleaning his guns. Well, you have no idea how many guns my dad had. And they were all, while I came out from getting ready and I walked out into the living room, I just cannot even express the feelings that were coming out of my soul at that moment. And the look on that poor dude's face, yeah, he was like, oh, you could have her home at 10:30. What, we were home at 8:30? Yeah.
Bad dad.
Well, if probably save me from a bunch of jerks.
Bet my sons would know better. Bad brothers.
Oh, jeez. That was even worse. This one guy wanted to date me, and he was a wrestler. And I wouldn't have anything to do with him. Because he was just known for being a jerk. Anyhow, so he started trying to spread rumors. Next thing I know, I'm strutting out of class out to the parking lot, and I see my brother's best friend's big giant blazer sitting out there, and I'm like, oh, what are they doing? They're coming to see me. And then right as that thought crossed my mind, I see the wrestler flying airborne cartwheels over the truck, and I just turned around and went back into class. Okay. Yeah. Well, he became a gymnast that day. Good times.
You survived.
I did. I did, Dad. You're right. And I married an awesome man. Oh my gosh, Sharon, Iron, I know the feeling. Oh, the only girl, and the oldest boys went everywhere. Oh, you poor thing. And they just sit there mad dogging everybody. Everybody. Yeah. And because all the stuff I was into, like mountain biking and all that kind of stuff, outdoor stuff, I had a lot of guy friends. Oh, the hell they went through. Any place to camp over there, Ken? Camping? Where are we going camping? Camping? Yeah, we've been talking about when we get down to Oregon, maybe doing a little something. Finding some cool spots, picking some areas. Let's see. Lester, when my daughters brought boys home, I would ask one question: who the fuck do you think you are? Didn't see many of them more than once. Yeah. Yeah. See? But it weeds out the ones with the bad intentions, right? It does. It does. Look, the fires are burning. Burning in my soul. Let's see. Sorry, I got you guys on my little tripoder.
Well, the logs are burning now.
Oh, yeah, the Joe and Joe spoon. Spooning's fine as long as, like I told Mark and Larry, as long as no one's sporking, you guys should be fine. Brokeback Mountain. Right? Spooning's fine. It's the sporking that gets you in trouble. We gotta get something set up in Oregon. Iron. I like watching a bigger fire than I make safely. Yeah. That thing's huge down there. It probably doesn't look like it, but it's big. It's a big one. It's raging deep in there. I don't know if you guys can see the flickery flamers. When my daughter brought a dude over, I chased his rear down the road. Oh, Flat Rock. Yeah, well. I can't quit you, Joe, Michael. Oh my goodness. So, Dad, you have done some serious hunting on horseback, all sorts of stuff. You've flown into places. You've done some crazy, crazy trips. What was your longest camping hunting trip?
The longest?
Yeah.
I think 3 years ago, I stayed in the woods 31 days or 33 days.
Out in Denali?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just a few years ago. It was off the Denali Highway. I had some videos when we went out there to visit. Out at hunting
Two
camp.
years ago, we stayed out there 20-something days.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad was a pilot. He had his own plane. He was out there. He sets up hunting camp. What were you doing that time you were out there for a month?
Just fishing and hunting. Cooking. For everybody. Looking for little four-legged creatures that wanted to go in my belly.
In my belly.
Then you have stupid people get lost and you have to go and try to find them, and then you miss your moose.
Aw. At least you find the people.
There's good people out there.
Didn't you see a miracle out there?
Yeah, I seen Miracle.
What was that?
Riding with my buddy in his wagon, pulling mules, and we come over the hill and the guy in a wheelchair is getting pushed. When we go by him, he jumped up and run across the road and looked in there and hollered, "What do you got there?" Big old antler sticking out. So I put on the brakes of the mules, and he was looking and they jabbering, and the mules said, "We're going home," and they took off dragging all four wheels. Left the guy standing, but his miracle, the guy is crippled, but he ran across the road. Yeah. But his mules, once you're headed home, they're going home. They ain't changing.
Nope.
Yeah.
I got a video of those mules too. They tried dragging me across the grass.
Then a few hours later, my buddy and his buddies come up on the horses, and they get to camp. They go, "It's all those skid marks on top of the hill." Have to tell them the story. Yep, they wanted to go home. But the miracle guy was back in the wheelchair. They seen him down the road.
Miracle guy. Have you seen any weird lights in the sky? Any UFOs?
Weird lights? Yeah, I see them all the time. They're called northern lights.
No, like UFO lights, Dad.
Yeah, they're all UFOs.
What made you come up to Alaska? Good
What
question,
made me
Dad.
come up to Alaska?
Mm-hmm.
Call of the Wild.
What was the call of the wild sound like?
I've been wanting to go to Alaska since I was a kid. I started to run away when I was 15 in a t-shirt in the middle of winter in Illinois. I was headed to Alaska.
Ah, dressed appropriately.
Yeah. I figured my oldest brother got me home, I was going to get lit up, but all Dad said after we sat down to eat was, "What would you be eating tonight?" Made me think. I had no clue. Probably frozen ice stickles. Yeah.
The strangest thing you ever encountered?
Strangest thing I've ever encountered.
Sound effects for you, Joe. Oh, I just broke another nail. Ah!
Well, the first time I seen giant manta rays, I thought they was the strangest thing I ever encountered. Me and Steinbrink went and jump in there and grab a hold of them and ride them.
Oh.
But they wasn't strange once you figured out what they were, but they were sure strange creatures to me.
That was back in the 60s, huh?
50s and 60s, yeah. I don't know what the strangest thing I ever encountered. That was the first thing I encountered that fascinating.
Alaskan walker. My hubby thought about running away at the airport at 11 years old, heading to Alaska. Cute. I wonder how many boys in their soul were like, I'm going to Alaska. Girls too. I'm getting out of this joint and I'm going where it's wild and free.
I've read stories about Alaska since I was, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, I guess. But Call of the Wild, I really loved that book.
Yeah. Right on. What was the dumbest thing you've seen someone do while out hunting?
There's so many dumb things. Well, I already kind of said it. I was sitting there waiting for a moose. This guy says, I met these two guys on the road, and they said, is there any caribou? And I said, yeah, there's caribou here. Well, I just want to go in for 15 minutes. And I said, well, chances of finding one is slim, but you walk in there, if you go left and hit a little river, make another, follow up back to the road, make another left, come back to the car. So I go on back down to where I was sitting. Then it starts getting almost dark, wasn't quite. The guy says, comes up there and says, my buddy ain't back. Need to find him. So I take my gun and stuff back to camp because it's a non-motorized area. Come back, just as I got back to where I started from, there was a legal bull moose standing right there, less than 20 yards away. That's how that started. Well, anyway, later on that night, heard 3 shots followed by 1. Anyway, we looked and called, no answer. Bunch of guys went in the woods, they never found him. So then his buddy, now this guy, his buddy's lost. He asked the guys from the lodge, can I go back to the lodge with you? So he goes back, spends the night at the lodge. I put a big light up on a pole in case the guy, still lost, he could see it. Next day I get up before daylight, look for him, can't find him. I'm up there glassing this valley. I see a car pull up the road. I wonder what they're up. So I go back. Well, they found him. Where'd they find him? Well, over there. So then I get there, he's there telling a story about some old codger telling him the wrong directions. And I said, old codger? Then he goes, oh, that was you. I said, yeah, you don't know the difference between your left and your right. And then got to talking about the shots, and he said, well, he figured he'd shoot 3 just to see if anybody answered. I said, what about the 1? Oh, the gun just did that by itself. I said, he had an AR-15. I said, it went off by itself? Oh, yeah. Then his buddy said, yeah, it did the same thing yesterday when he was getting it out of the car. It just went off.
What?
By itself, right?
No.
Yeah.
What?
That's about the stupidest thing I've heard in a long time. But the stupidest thing was them asking me if they could go hunting with me next year. They didn't like my answer. But anyway, that was pretty stupid.
Sounds like it. Good night, Patrick. Woo.
What was that?
Uh-oh. Light.
I'll get you a light. Oh. Lordy, lordy.
There we go.
I'm knocking things over. Can't even see. Taking pictures of my feet now.
Nice. Oh. So what about, oh, the guy in the bus? Ooh, you know, the story of the Supertramp kid that went into the Alaskan bush. Well, the crazy thing about that is the woman, Laura, who was part of the first women's team to run the Iron Dog. She went out on a date with a guy, and they were out riding wheelers, and they were the ones that actually came up on him dead in the bus, and they turned it in. Crazy. She has pictures and everything. Ugh. Goody. But sadly, because so many people hear that story and wanted to make a trek out there to that bus, they had to move the bus because people were going into the area that no one had any business being out there without proper skills. You know, it's not something you can just walk or drive to. And a lot of people, when they come up here from the lower 48, have no idea what they're up against. And so all the rescue efforts from people going out there that had no business being out there finally caused the bus to have to be moved. So, yeah, had to constantly be rescued out there. Crazy.
Well,
What about that, what was the dude that lived with the bears for 13 years, your buddy?
Tidwell or Tazwell.
Treadwell.
Timothy Treadwell.
Yes. Oops, sorry guys. Timothy Treadwell.
I met him in King Salmon, Alaska, and he was a lunatic.
No, really?
Yeah, really.
So what?
He was like talking to the stars and stuff. He was a half a bubble from being plumb on the bottom side. Sad thing about that whole thing is not only did he get killed, but his girlfriend got killed too.
Yeah, and sadly, yeah, she was going to break up with him too.
Well, I bet she wished she had broke up earlier, about the time the bear took the first bite of her.
Yeah. Uncle Bones, I seen that bus before he went there. I was in Healy at the time. Right, okay, Iron. So, Uncle Bones. Yeah, so Laura lived out there too. And they,
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Krusty.
they,
I really hate that this thing automatically turns the flash on every time.
sorry, lost
I
my
can't
track
get
of
mine
thought
on.
there. But anyhow, they went out there on a date, but she was from out there, and they went out to go look at the bus on their date, and came across him dead in it. Quite the date. Nice fire, guys. It's still raging down in there.
Yeah.
Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn.
Well, I think I'll go and call my wife.
I'm definitely not gonna go take a walk around there.
Well, I can drive you down onto the lake now.
Huh. You guys want to go for a ride in the side by? Oh, did you guys see that?
Yeah,
Did you see that?
flying Sasquatch. What was it?
Joe, where's the light? Give me your light. Do you have your
I don't have
flashlight?
it.
Oh. What was that? That couldn't have been a flying squirrel.
No, it wasn't a squirrel. It was some
They
kind of
don't
bird.
fly like that.
Ain't no birds. It was probably
No,
a
it
bat.
wasn't a bird, but it went to the feeding dish.
Here.
I think it was a big
Here.
old bird. I don't see it.
I don't see it either, but it went right to that tree. What a tree.
Probably
That was
a flying
crazy.
squirrel.
No, because it was like this.
Okay.
And the flying squirrel can't go down and then back up.
How big was it?
About the size of a hawk.
It's like a size of a bird. I thought it might be a bat or
Yeah, it was an awful big bat if it was a bat.
yeah. Alaskan bats are small.
Mothman.
It's a Mothman.
It was bigger than a crow.
Probably an owl.
Well, that's what I first thought it might be, but it was booking.
I heard one hooting last night.
Huh.
Did you?
Flying squirrel flugel.
Flugel.
Wow, that was crazy. Huh. Wonder what it was. Pterodactyl.
Can't even get the roll for the guy.
Charlie the Pyro, welcome. Our pyro fire isn't pyroing as much as we would have liked. Good night, Alex. Thanks for coming. Yeah, we have bats up here, but they're tiny. They're little guys. Alaskan moon bat. Took acid while camping. No, have not. Can't say that I have. He died because his meat went bad. Yeah.
Let me see if I can get out here, Jackie.
Okay, hold on. Let me move the camera, everyone. Hold on. Dad's got to get moving. Okay, hold on.
You're plugged in.
Yeah. Here.
You want a light? Crickety crick.
Charlie the Pyro.
There's Joe the Pyro.
I've seen a Bigfoot. I think. Good night, Donald Fuller. Donald said night, Dad.
I'm not going to sleep.
Well, he is. You want to go for a ride in the side-by-side, Joe? I don't know if we can get on the lake down there.
Hmm? You know, I haven't really tested where exactly we can go on the lake with the side-by-side, and we don't exactly know how thick it is over the whole thing.
Ducks don't fly at night. It's a UFO. Okay. It was right here, like, just right in this. It was zipping by pretty good.
Mm.
Man, there's an awesome glow down there. Right, Bat Mom? I know. Yeah. Me too. I'm definitely not going for a walk tonight. My body would be like, no, I don't think so. takes so long for my body to rejuvenate. You know, I could just do little tiny walks each day, but I just try and push it a lot of times just to see. But then I push it. We're out past Wasilla. Wow. Woohoo! Yeah. Closer to the little Sioux. The little Sioux sitting. Whoa. Where are you at? What part of Alaska are you at? Oh, yeah. How cold is it right now, Joe? Can you check the temp? Pretty please.
Well, you've got the lighter shining on the flashlight.
Let me find it. Hold on. I can't see a thing right now. Right here. It's the... Oops, sorry.
20.
Blinded.
Pretty warm out there.
Right? I know. Things light. It's bright. Bright light! Bright light! $27. 19 wind chill. Yeah, we're having a heat wave. Especially compared to last night, eh? He grouchy pants? Yeah, right, Bat Mom? I know. He's a 19-year-old.
Well, sorry,
your
we just had a
treatment
big pile
already.
of non-flammable wood not burn for some reason.
I did have my, the one injections. The one in my arm, and then the one in for my sciatic nerve. You crack me up, yeah. Heat wave. Right? Yeah. Sarcasm runs thick in this family. Spotlight the pile. See a wild man down there warming up next to the fire. Is the water shots still working? Water shots. Right, yeah. That's true. Batmom. It's the only known language. We speak sarcasm fluently. Oh, right. I know, with all that pine wood. Well, it's not pine, spruce. Yeah, and then you add the factor that we've got, what, 4 people in this little cabin. Oh, well, welcome, Alex. doing something goofy. We're going to be heading to Oregon here at some point. And who knows what we'll find down there. I want to do some really serious. We're going to get serious now. But like really go out and actually do a really, you know, efforted search. Ooh, Christmas trees. Here comes the big cargo jet over the cabin. Military's flying their biggins again. They take off right across over there. We can watch them. Watch them, watch them, watch them. Yeah, it was kind of crazy growing up here in the 70s, because the 70s in Alaska was not the same. Oh, your hubby's from Oregon too? Oh, Alaskan Walker. There's a lot of in common things, huh? Yeah. It's pretty crazy because I grew up in Alaska when you could still drive snow machines in Anchorage, in the city. And so it was different, you know, being able to jump on your snow machine and go ride around the neighborhood or ride your three-wheeler. A lot of fun. A lot of fun back then. Oh, look at that log starting to spark up down there. Ooh. I don't know if you can see it. Right there, the tip of that log is like, give me fire. Is it, Lester? Are you kidding me? Oh, freaking Oregon. Oy. Politicians in Oregon are bananas. They seriously are. They drive me nuts. Oh, here, let's make all the drugs legal. You can do every drug you want, but yeah, go ahead and try and get your prescription medications from your doctor. No, not allowed. They're so bass-ackwards there, it's not even funny anymore. Don't even get me started on Portland. Ugh. Yeah. Can you tell I'm really looking forward to going to Oregon? It's just nuts. It doesn't make any sense at all. And yeah, during the one, you know, our last president, oh no, we can't, you know, let the protesters protest all day long. They could shred the place for all we care. They need to get their feelings out. And then, now, totally different story. So, you know, flip and flop more than a dying salmon. Ranch hands in California. Huh. My husband's family did a lot of farming in California. Part of the Driscoll's group. And then his grandfather was tomato farmer for hunts, amongst many other things. Was that? No, great-grandfather. Grandfather. I get it right. I don't know. One of them. But his great-grandfather surveyed all of Baja, California. Mexico. I was not asked to wear a mask in Anchorage Friday and Saturday. Really, I haven't been in Anchorage for, what, a week now. How old was my dad when he finally moved to Alaska? Let's see. Well, I was 5. We got here in 75, 76. So what, he was 40 something? 40 something? Right, Lester? Right? This is nuts. It is so nuts. And like, I've been fighting with that because, you know, the people who are taking medications for pain management, you know, cancer patients, etc., are not in the same boat as people who are taking drugs to check out. And why they are treating those two as one is just unnerving and drives me up a wall. And I am overly outspoken about it. I've gone to town halls. It's just nuts. It's, you know, what's sad is our politicians don't work for us. They work for the corporations that put them in their seat. And so, you know, we even have our president from 40 years ago talking about, you know, how the politicians are indebted to whoever gives them the money from their campaigns. And that's where they have to, you know, they call in favors. And so, right? Stoke the fire. They had a leaf blower down there on it. It's going pretty good, considering. But what's sad is, you know, they've talked about term limits for Congress, and it won't matter. It won't matter if you change that seat daily. When a corporation owns the seat, it doesn't matter. When they created Citizens United, which gave corporations the same rights as an individual, our individual rights were gone, just eradicated. And now you've got this tug of war between this left and the right. But what's sad about it is the left and the right, it's all just fake. It really doesn't matter, because what happens is the left says, oh, this is our stance and we want laws created on this side. And then the pendulum swings over to the right, and the right says, this is our stance and we want laws created on this side. And then the pendulum swings again to the left. And regardless, that pendulum keeps swinging back and forth, but our rights are being eroded with each swing. It doesn't matter left or right. We are losing rights by the bucket loads on the regular. And until we recognize this and really focus our attention in that direction, nothing is going to change. They're going to continue doing what they've been doing for decades upon decades. Yes. All sides of this equation, they are not they are not in it for our best interests, because if they cared about our best interests, the cancerous stuff that's going into the water wouldn't be an issue. You know, that wouldn't happen. You know, we've got to also look at, you know, all these corporations that are digging, you know, resources out of the ground that are precious resources, and then using them to build junky crap that's going to get thrown away. And so we're digging all this precious metals and resources out of the ground just to get thrown into our landfill the next summer. So, you know, again, I will get on a soapbox and rant all day long about the idiot. Just, ugh, get going. Ooh, boy, do I get going. Have a good night, Sharon. Yeah. But, you know, we should be at a point where we're like, we don't accept it. And, you know, we shouldn't be like, well, that's how it is and that's how it's always going to be. It doesn't have to be. We could do better. You know, we totally could. Spotlight that thing. Meow. It's still going pretty good. Going, going, going. I'm gonna grab me some water. I'll tell you guys about the crazy lights missing I saw on the Iron Dog Trail. Hold on, I get some water. Light there, okay. Don't fall on the stove. Didn't they ban that saying or something? So stupid. Sniffling his neck. Oh yeah. Alaska is a red state. It's pretty much red. It's tough though when you say like, oh, it's a red state, because we do have, you know, there's other people in there with different political views, you know, and so when you classify them as a, you know, what happens to, which goes away from our actual republic, you know, that's what the whole idea behind a democratic republic, you know. We're completely losing sight and track of that stuff, but it's nuts. Yeah. One night, Missy and I'll go ahead and tell you guys, Texas is closed to all that want Texas blue. But there are still people there that, you know, there's no blanket anything anywhere. You know, wherever you're going to have a huge population, they are generally going to be a more democratic leaning, you know, society. You know, the more country type, you know, you're going to have more of the Republican type side, you know. So there's nothing that is straight black and white, you know. Or red and blue. Throw some diesel on that fire. Yeah, we'll have the EPA out here. If you want to pay the EPA fine, sure. You know what was interesting was one of the colleges that were doing some kind of trying to remember which college it was, which university. They were out on a, I don't know, expedition as as researching, and there were complaints against the college, and they were trying to get the college to defund the college because of they had college students out looking for Sasquatch. And so there was a big stink that, people felt that they shouldn't be, out there looking for a mythical creature, was the basis of their argument against that. It's just interesting because you have like different organizations that will, in the government with, for Parks and Rec and stuff like that, that will put out these funny, especially around April Fool's time, making comments about, oh, it's breeding season for Sasquatch. One article that I read down in Oregon, they were like, don't play Sade too loud, things like that, which are humorous, but just makes you wonder sometimes what they really know. Yeah, the JFK blueback. Yeah. We need to do something different is the problem. And this is generally when societies get to a certain point where we're at. And that's basically where the entire globe is at. We've reached a point where we need to upgrade accordingly. And if we don't, and we've seen it. We've got enough history to prove they collapse. They start going backwards. They start looking backwards to try and solve problems that are, in the future. And they tend to try and go backwards for what is comfortable and what is known. It's just like in a relationship that didn't work out. And then people go back to it because it's something they know. It's what they know. It's better than the unknown. And so we've totally surpassed all of our political structures. My friend, if Bigfoot was real, we would have already found him. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion on that. You retracted your message, Flatrock. Must have been good. Well, it never did the big poof. It was still burning. Dude stepped out on a trail. Ooh, see, Alex, there is... wow. Skinwalkers are something else. Hey, Eric. I knew a Navajo that told me a lot of crazy stories about skinwalkers. But what's interesting is when you're dealing with the Sasquatch, is there is this element or phenomenon with them that seems to be, that in tune with a lot of the lore or stories from our natives. What's the weirdest thing I've seen in Alaska? Seen a lot of weird things. One night, went out, and we were down towards Turnagain, and the truck got stuck in this snow, really deep snow, and it was super late, and there was no traffic, and so for hours, just sitting there, just stuck, and all of a sudden this guy shows up with this little tiny truck, those little S10 trucks, and this was a big old Blazer stuck. Anyhow, he's like, well, let me try and pull you out. And the person that I was with was really arrogant. I'm like, well, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work. And he's like, well, let me try. Anyhow, he manages to pull us out, and he looks at us, and the last thing he said was, keep looking up, Jesus is coming soon. And he drove away, and as he drove away, we looked out across the bay there, the Turnagain Arm there, and this is so nuts, but right then, this meteor came through and was just like streaking across the sky right then. It was so nuts. And of course, it lit the whole area up, and it was pretty awesome, but the timing of it was pretty awesome. That was one of those moments that I was like, whoa. That was a message. That was nuts. One time Missy and I were out on the Iron Dog Trail. We were, stopped for a quick little break and grab a little nourishment. And while I was sitting there munching on my jerky stick, I was looking up into the sky, and these lights were in this weird pattern, and it was like they kind of did this like cross almost, up and down, and then side to side, and then up and down, and then side to side, and up and down. So as I'm watching it, I was like, well, that's not a satellite. They don't do that. And and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know quite what I was looking at, and it was just doing all these weird, just like shooting from one side to the next, like these incredible distances across the sky, but no way that it was a plane or anything like that. And so as I'm watching it, I was just kind of perplexed, and Missy turns around and said, yeah, I see it too. Like, okay, good. Like she said, that's no satellite. Jeez, we were out past Portman at that point, way out there. Way out in the middle of Alaska. Ain't nothing out there. according to some of the, what was that woman? Oh my goodness. She's famous in the UFO and, oh my goodness, Linda Moulton Howe. Yeah, she was saying that there's a pyramid up here in Alaska, approximately in that area-ish of Alaska. Now the fire is going to do a slow burn internally, it looks like.
That one is just too wet and frozen.
Yeah. Too much snow and ice has accumulated in the pile. Oh well, we tried. It's still burning. It's crazy because you can see it in the center is just flaming away. Yeah, Joe's got to find his other flip-flop he lost. Fishing for the other flippity-flop.
It is still going down in there, isn't it?
Yeah, look at that glow all the way over there. Every once in a while it looks like it's gonna kick off. And then it doesn't. And then it doesn't. Oops, sorry. Oops, keep kicking the tripoddy. Tripotamus. Two cousins do that. One's nicknamed Curly, the other Baldy. I don't know how long you guys want to keep this going for. The fire's gonna keep burning. There's not much I can do about that at this point. What are you doing for your subs, Joe? What does that do? Oh, that changes. Okay, I don't need that. What does this do? I'm just gonna start clicking. Oh. Interesting. What does this do? Just messing with the settings now. I've never really played with the settings in here. I've always just hit live and go, but they've got all these little thingies down here at the bottom. Oh, I can't see. Yeah, just when I think it's gonna go dead, it starts firing up again. You're right, Flat Rock. The flip-flop video was good that Joe did. It was cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm inside. I'm definitely inside. Just looking out the window. Got the camera.
Warmed up. It's about 18 degrees.
Yay! It's a heat wave. Oh, wait, no, I don't. I've just been hanging on to it. Because I didn't want to lose it again when I set it down. Can't find it. In the dark.
It's supposed to be 35 tomorrow.
Phew. Yeah.
And possibly raining.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So then you'll see all the snow go away.
Then it's gonna snow more.
And then it'll snow more. We'll get layers and layers upon layers. Awesome. You guys can ask Captain Jake and First Mate Joe questions about Bristol Bay. Commercial fishing out in Bristol Bay. That's always fun, Joe. This is our son's first summer off since you were what, 9?
11, I thought.
11.
Oh, 11. Wow. Since he was 11, he's been out fishing. Cowboy said he's coming here sometime this month. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna start. Oh, see, as soon as I say something, it starts firing back up again. It looks like it's dwindling. Slow. Is it as dangerous to fish there as they show on Deadliest Catch?
Per capita, I don't honestly know, but every summer we lose a couple of people out there, usually from drowning, sometimes from blunt force trauma to the skull. The occasional gunshot wound too.
It's pretty rough out there. Good night, Joe. Yeah, we're probably gonna shut this down here soon because the fire's going down. Not much happening. Happening.
How many viewers you got?
Right now, 12 it looks like.
How many of them have seen Bigfoot?
Out of the 12 that are here, how many have seen Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Um,
How many have had an encounter?
I guess if you've had an encounter, say 1, or me, or whatever. Are the fish boats worth the money?
Not sure how to answer that. There's a lot of factors. They can be absolutely worth the money. There's a handful of really, really good fishermen that probably fish illegally a lot. That might spend $800,000 or $900,000 on a boat and pay for it in 2 seasons.
I didn't turn to look as he was roaring at us. Oh, was that your... your encounter? I'm not getting a count on how many have had encounters that are watching.
Alright. That's okay. I haven't, but I have seen a UFO.
Ooh, please do tell.
It was up south of Bishop Lakes, or Bishop, California. Out in the desert, driving with some friends in the middle of the night. We all saw it. It was a triangle, 3 lights, just zipping around the sky. This was a long time ago, long before drones. We were out in the middle of nowhere. Whatever it was too fast to be anything man-made that we know of. Could have been some crazy military thing, but I don't know.
Wow. Okay, Flat Rock has seen him.
Oh, cool.
One so far. Me too. Oh man, doesn't look like it's like piddling out. You should see on the screen. There's like
What's that?
on the screen. It doesn't even look like there's a
Oh.
flame down there.
Just dark.
Yeah, that's nuts. Let's see, Pyro. Lester, I thought I was going to get an education on flat Earth that night, but iron deprived me of that. Oh, sorry, Pyro. Yeah, that's the first time Lester saw me and Connor. Yeah. Kind of get a little outspoken when it comes to flat Earth. Only because I harassed our poor son for so long about it. Especially when the flat earthers try and tell me I don't know what their subject matter is. It's like, oh, you have no idea. I could preach it. Lester Taylor, my grandma and I was in the car and saw a light in the sky do a 90-degree turn. Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff we saw. It was just zigzagging. Fast.
And you were in California?
Yep, near Bishop on the 395.
Now, when you were in Mammoth and doing all that snowboarding coolness, did you say there were like ghosts in the
Yeah, in the
Mammoth?
main lodge. I worked on the night crew in there, and there was lots of ghost stories in that building. Everybody said it was haunted. A lot of people I knew had weird things happen. I had weird thing happen.
What?
Oh, you want to know? I was mopping actually, and I was working my way backwards down a big long row of bathroom stalls, and the doors were all open, and I was kind of across the room from them, like 10 feet away, and I was just working my way along backwards, mopping the floor. And out of the corner of my eye, I could see clear as day, about 20 feet away from me, someone sitting in the bathroom stall. And I stopped, I didn't move, I didn't turn my head towards it, but out of my peripheral vision, I could see clear as could be someone sitting on the toilet in the bathroom stall.
Oh, Jesus.
And when I turned my head and looked, there was nothing there.
Oh my gosh.
It was weird.
I wonder
But
if
there was a lot of stories like that.
Really?
Locker doors slamming, because the place was just lined with lockers. There'd be like 2 or 3 like would slam, bam, 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 like somebody was walking by just slamming them, and nobody was around. You could look down the hall, there'd be nobody down there. There was a lot of crazy stories because a lot of people died in that building over the years. The building was at about 8,000 feet elevation, and people would come up from Los Angeles. It was about a 6-hour drive. They'd come up there and they'd party all night doing coke and drinking and carrying on, and then go skiing the next day, and they'd be sitting in the lodge drinking a beer and their heart would just explode. So there was a lot of dead bodies in that lodge over the years.
Oh gosh! Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Did you like frizz your hair? Like,
Oh yeah, it was creepy. It wigged my whole body out. It was weird.
Oh wow. Nuts.
Like the, whatever you want to call it, the when you get the chills or the, just the heebie-jeebies or whatever you want to call it.
The hair on the back of your neck. Wow. Crazy.
The reason for working night crew and mopping is so you can go snowboarding all day.
Yeah. Gotta play. Gotta pay to play. That's awesome. Well, the fire has officially pizzled out. It's like all we see now is just a few sparks spurtering out of it.
A few little embers coming up.
Okay, spooky, right, Uncle Bones? That is spooky. Scotty, I used to think satellites turn 90 degrees. Boy, was I wrong and told otherwise. Only seen him do it. Never thought otherwise. Yeah, huh? Pyro, I saw one that looked like a superdome floating silently away. Ooh.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, Alaska has a lot of people see weird lights and stuff up here. Did you ever see any weird lights up here?
No, I've not seen anything weird up here.
Huh.
Nothing coming to mind at the moment anyways.
I was watching out my window one night, just watching out the window because there was
Oh,
nothing
I
else
remember
to
you
do.
told me about
I
that.
remember this.
And I was just kind of looking up at the stars, and all of the sudden, with no prompt or anything else really happening, one of them just started moving and zipped away.
Whoa.
None of them had moved for the last 15 or 20 minutes. I was sitting there watching out for a long time, and then I just watched that one, kind of in the middle of my view too. So I had my eyes on it as it started moving, and it didn't like accelerate. It was just moving that fast.
Nuts.
Wow. I remember you telling me about that when you were pretty young, probably like 8 or 9 maybe.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't you see orbs in the house too one night?
No, I never saw orbs, but I'm pretty sure I saw a ghost cat one night.
Oh, I had that.
Before we lost Jasper.
What?
Oh yeah, I told you about this one too. So I was sitting on the bar stools that we had, looking through the kitchen at the front door, and you know that kind of those rock tiles that we had there, that area, the landing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it looked like a cat. It went by so fast, but it looked like just this bright. It wasn't bright, but it was like this white spot that was kind of fuzzy and indistinguishable, really. Just kind of this white spot, really. It wasn't bright. Just kind of like appeared and then raced to the right.
Wow.
It reminded me of what a cat was doing, but then I looked over and saw Jasper sitting right there, and I was like, oh, okay. Nope. I'm out. But the thing is, I remember it doing it again, like several years later.
weird. I had that one really weird experience in that house too, with that piece of drywall.
Oh, right.
We had an unfinished basement in that house, and I had a couple of little workroom, hobby rooms down there that were just kind of real, just framed up with drywall on one side. And I put a vent in one of them, and there was a little, like a 6-inch round piece of drywall that had been sitting in there for years, just leaning up against the wall. And I thought, if I ever take that vent out or something, I could put it back in and plaster it and make it look nice or something. And anyways, I've been sitting there underneath that vent for years, never moved. And I was in the next room over. The door was open, and I was like 10 feet into the room working on some inconsequential little project. I don't even remember what it was, but I was on the floor working on something, probably like woodworking or something. I had something I was building. And that piece of drywall, it's a little 6-inch round circle, comes rolling up next to me and falls over. And it was out the door, around the corner, over a 2x4 that was laying on the floor in between me and where that thing would have come from.
They would have had to cross all of that to get to
Would have had to go 15 feet around a corner, in through a door, and over a 2x4 to get to me. A 2x4 in the other room. Oh, that was a flying squirrel, for sure.
Oh, I saw it again. I saw it too.
Okay, where's that spotlight? Okay, point your camera down into the tray.
Into
Move
the
real
tray.
slow. Yep, can you point it? I'm gonna put the light on, see if we can see that squirrel. Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
Okay. Where'd it go? I saw it come racing through.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Oh, it's up. Is it up
Is it?
the tree?
Huh.
Huh.
I don't know where it went. It might have spooked and flew off down the hill. That's pretty cool, though.
There are flying squirrels out here. So one just flew by. I don't know if you guys saw it on the camera or not, but yeah. So the lights over there.
I'm pretty sure it was a flying squirrel. I don't know
Is-
what else it would be.
I doubt bats would be flying around right now.
That's the
No.
military base ish area. So there's no houses out here. That's a game refuge out there. So there's nothing out there. That's way across the bay, the lights that you see out there. And then Anchorage is over kind of down towards the right further. But that kind of glowing is from the light pollution from Anchorage.
Yeah, those lights across there are at least probably 10 miles away as the crow flies. 5 miles of water. Probably more, actually.
Yeah. Crazy. Hey, Flyby Stew. We've been telling spooky stories. The bonfire is kind of pizzled out, so we're just getting ready to close down for the evening. I was telling some spooky stories and sightings and what's not is happening. We got Captain Jake and First Mate Joseph here. They can talk about it. They're telling Bristol Bay stuffs. Dad's went to bed. He got up early for church this morning, so him's back snoozing. There's just so much ice and snow build up in that pile. Which direction is that from you all? South.
Southeast.
Bonfire. Yeah, sorry, Flyby Stew. It kind of pissed. It's gone. It died. It was going pretty good there for a while. Hauntings don't bother me. Poltergeist would make me. Nope, the fuck out. Yeah, I hear ya. Feel like I'm sitting in your living room with you guys. Awesome. Yeah. One of our stations is the oldest settled area in Oklahoma. Many moving shadows are seen there often. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, there's a few, I never left the lodge, all those tight sweaters. Yeah, there's a few of the hotels in Anchorage that are supposed to be haunted too. I stayed at one. And yeah, the person that I was with got spooked the hell out, so we left. But yeah, I didn't see anything. Oh no, slept through the alarm? Well. Oh my gosh, I still wake up with those horrified nightmare things where I think I'm late for work. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Crazy. What was your guys' roughest night out in Bristol Bay?
Like weather-wise, it's always the roughest night when it's
bad
bad
always,
weather.
It's always the roughest night.
Oh, there's many a nights where the weather's so bad that you can't get any rest because you're just getting tossed around. In between openers, you just exhausted. You just worked, 20 or 25 hours, and you finally get a few hours off and you go try and anchor up, and the weather's so bad that the wind is pulling you off your anchor and boats are slamming into you, and it's just misery. Everybody's angry. Everybody's miserable and irritable.
Nobody's had a shower in 2 weeks.
And you get to the point where you're just so mad you just can't wait for the next fishing period so you don't have to sit there on the hook getting the crap kicked out of you. You'd rather just be fishing making money than trying to sleep and not being able to, getting beat up. You're just counting the hours down. You're like, oh, okay, 2 more hours. I try and sleep for a couple minutes in between waves and boats banging into you.
What's the scariest thing you've seen that you can share with me?
Well, I'd have to say that anchor winch coming off was probably about one of the sketchiest things that's happened to us.
Absolutely. It was a really, really rough day.
Although when that bow line broke and nobody was at the helm, that was pretty sketchy too.
Yeah, it was really sketchy. I had to do some Spider-Man flying stuff that night.
What happened, Joe?
Well, we were tied up to
Which story are you telling? The
tire
bow
blew in
line?
half.
Oh,
I should
okay.
flip the camera around.
That was on
See us talk.
That was on the
Muskrat.
Muskrat. That's
Yep.
right, because it had the tanks up on the deck.
Lights on.
No. Here, I'll just sit in this chair with the candlelight. That was working pretty good. I think. For Krusty, wasn't it?
I think so.
Alright, I think there's a lighter over here. Aha! Aha!
So anyway, yeah, we were
Babies and fighters.
tied up to the
Drop you guys down. Welcome
up.
to the cabin.
We were tied up to the Muskrat.
Muskrat,
To the Muskrat!
which was like an old World War II
Yeah, an old World
power
War II
scow.
And, it was rough. I think the seas at the time were supposed to be like 6 to 8 feet or something, and it was definitely that.
What are you doing here?
I don't know
You wanna
what's
sit
going
here?
on. Well, I was trying to get Joe in the camera here.
Well, I don't have to be in the limelight.
They want to see people talking. It's no fun to listen to a story and not
Well,
look at someone.
That's true. I
Are you
suppose.
serious? Is that a real thing? I didn't know. Sorry, I'm new at this YouTube and stuff.
I'm stealing your water, Mom. I'm thirsty. So,
To flick on the light.
so they can see me just fine. It's perfect spooky light. Don't worry about it.
Can't.
Yes, they can.
Put your little light on back there. It'll be perfect.
So, on these boats, if they're intelligent enough, will put a shock absorber in the lines that you tie up with, because most tie-off lines don't have a lot of spring or stretch, and when it's rough out, your boat needs to be able to move differently than the boat you're offloading is, because they're different sizes. Your boat's going to move in the waves a lot more than that grabber will.
Yeah, most of those tender boats that we deliver to
They're over
90,
80 at
yeah,
least.
most of them are at least 80. Most of them are around 100 to 130. The big ones are 130.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
And so they don't move much in the weather, but our 32-foot boats do. So they'll put tires in the line to help soak up some of the shock loads from the boats going up and down. They should put big ATV tires and real tough tires that have what are they called?
Oh, they just
The-
put car tires or regular, pickup, heavy duty pickup
Heavy
truck
duty
tires.
pickup tires. Yeah, well the ones with the wire in them.
Yeah, just radial tires.
Radial
Just-
tires.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyways, this tire was a flimsy
This tire
little,
was a flimsy little Prius tire, basically.
yeah.
And well, it had been holding up for too long and busted loose. Now the other thing that happens in that bay is the tides are so strong, they'll move almost as fast as
5 or 6 knots.
5 or 6 knots. Yeah.
6 miles an hour for sure.
And so there's a lot of current racing past our boats. And as the waves came and the scow went up and we went down and we busted the bow line and ripped that tire basically in half. The problem was the rear of the boat was still tied off, and with the current going as strong as it was and the bow line gone and the rear line still attached, the bow of the boat began to swing away from the tender fast. Nobody was inside the helm of the boat at the time. Everybody was on the back deck. And Dad here, Captain Jake, was up on the deck of the tender so he could write down the numbers of the weights of the brailer bags we were offloading. And so once the bow line broke off and we started to swing, I didn't see it, but because I had to run up into the helm and start taking control of the boat, which meant just actuating the bow thruster, because I couldn't do anything with the jet of the boat. If I put it in gear, we would have possibly broken a cleat, or I would have just something bad would have happened if I put it in gear. That would have been the wrong thing to do. So the best I could do was hope that the bow thruster could help hold the boat against the current for at least a little bit longer. And give my dad just enough time to jump off of the tanks that were sitting on the deck of the Muskrat that were, how high did you say those tanks were off the deck? 8 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to fly like Spider-Man, basically, from the tender to our boat, and parkour from about 8 feet up and fly about 8 or 10 feet to our boat. All the while I was screaming at Henry to cut the stern line,
Henry.
because if it was about to pinch up against the tender, and if it would have pinched up against the tender, it would have ripped the cleat off for sure.
Yeah, it would have ripped the cleat
or just crushed the back of the boat.
Crushed the back of the boat, or hopefully it would have broke the line, but either that
something bad
would have happened.
Sure.
There. Well, yeah, that light's overexposing me in the back now.
Yeah, so that was a pretty exciting offload in the middle of the night
yes,
in a
of course.
storm.
It was pitch black. It was dark out. Yeah, stormy, nasty. Ugh.
So the other
I used to work on a boat.
in a boatyard. Good to hear some boat banter, LOL. Right on.
Night, Joe.
Yeah, and then the other really dangerous thing that happened to us was we were tied up to the Scandies Rose, which is was a great big, really nice crabber, Bering Sea crabber. It was, I can't remember, it was probably a 130-foot boat.
Yeah.
And again, it was really rough. We were in Nushagak Bay, and there was probably at least eight or maybe 10 footers rolling through, and we were tied off to the Scandies Rose, and we were just about getting ready to untie, and when you untie from the tender, the guy on the stern has to untie first. So the stern came loose, and I turned my head to look up to the bow to check on my nephew George, who was on the bow, and let him know that he could go ahead and untie. And right when I pointed to him, which is the signal to untie, the bottom just dropped out from underneath us. This big swell had just rolled through and just dropped us, and when the line came tight before he could untie it, and it ripped the anchor winch, which is probably about 100 pounds of solid aluminum and steel.
Yeah, cast aluminum housing.
He had his hand on it, and and there's a cleat. That's what the line was tied to, and that got ripped off the boat in a extremely violent and abrupt manner, and it was one of the most gnarly things I've ever seen, because I watched my nephew almost get killed right in front of me, and fortunately he was in the right place. He knew what to do. He knew the right place to be, so he was out of harm's way. But it just is sobering when something like that happens, and things like that do happen out there regularly. As safe as you can possibly be, it's just such a dangerous environment that when you're dealing with boats and moving, boats moving differently from each other on the water. Anyways, yeah, so the anchor winch came off the front of the boat, ripped about
There-
2 feet of welds on
Yeah,
each
there had to
side
be
of it.
about a solid 1.5 or 2 feet of welds around the sides of it.
Broke the aluminum casting and
Yeah, I was
ripped the
gonna
whole
say.
thing off the front of the boat. Ripped the hydraulic lines out of the front of the boat, and so we, the second that happened, I threw it in reverse, got off the side of the boat, and just hovered there for a second, and the anchor line, or the anchor winch was still attached to the tie-up line on the Scandies Rose, so they were able to get a hold of that line with a crane and lift my anchor winch up, and then I just pulled up next to it and just hovered there, and they dropped it on the back deck for me, and we headed up district. We had about a probably 30-mile run or something up to Dillingham, where we had to get pulled out of the water and get some welding work done and build some new hydraulic lines. And we missed one opener because of that, and that wasn't such a bad thing because everybody walked away safe and sound, so that was cool.
What's an opener? Some people
Oh,
may
an
not
opener is
understand.
so Fish and Game
Terminology.
announces openers, which is when you're allowed to go fishing. So an opener could be anywhere from a few hours to days long, just depending on if there's enough fish coming in. If there's just a few coming in, you won't get any openers, or you might get just a very short opener. But once they've reached escapement goals, then they open up longer and longer openers until eventually you're just open around the clock. And then you start getting really bleary-eyed.
Oh yeah, around the clock openers. They know how many fish are going up the rivers because they do actually have counting stations in several places on a couple of the rivers to make sure that we manage the fishery as accurately as possible, and they're doing a really good job at it. We've over the last couple of years, the last 4 years have been increasing in size, and the last 2 have broken records.
Yeah, we've consecutively broken return records a couple years in a row, and they're predicting an even bigger return next year, which is really amazing considering most fish stocks around the world are in decline or possibly even endangered, some of them.
Yeah.
So the Alaska Department of Fish and Game does a really good job of managing this fishery for the longevity of the fish, because it's such an important species to the Alaskan people.
Yeah, well, Bristol Bay is the last and only fully natural salmon spawning habitat left on the planet.
Yep, unenhanced. There's no hatcheries. It's completely all natural wild fish. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's worth protecting. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't know if everybody's probably gonna step this down for the night. Loving the stories, Lester. Right on.
Well, cool. Maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Someday I'll be telling you guys the story about that time I saw a Bigfoot. But I haven't seen one yet, so I'm still looking.
Yeah.
Joe and I were actually talking about taking a hike out into the wildlife refuge tomorrow.
Yes.
Since we're going to have some fresh snow, we might see what fresh tracks are out there.
Cool. That'll be fun.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we can't get a wheeler back there anymore. The trail is just, all the snow has pushed the alders and trees down over the trail so far. We can get back to about just the corner of the lake, and that's about it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, everyone. Oh, before we go, what is our, we've been talking about planning a search expedition, whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
out
when we get
in
down to Oregon, yeah.
What was your thoughts on? Well, what is our plan? Like, what were you thinking? Like, as far as looking on a map and like there's that Bigfoot highway,
Mm-hmm.
and that comes. It's part of the whole west, like the west coast, and we're kind of trying to pick a spot in that section. But what were you thinking?
Yeah, I think that would be ideal, would be somewhere in that area.
And you guys what was the plan? Like,
Oh, I think, well, once we get down there, let's try and, we're going to try and get out back in the logging roads and see if we can scope out a good place that we can set up some kind of a base camp. And, you know, if people want to show up with RVs, maybe we can figure out a good spot to base camp from and find some remote areas to hike into, and maybe try and set up camp for a couple of days and listen and watch and look for tracks, and yeah, something like that. I think it'd be pretty fun.
yeah, I think it'll be awesome. All right, I'm looking forward to that. Alrighty, tubers and footers. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out. The bonfire is officially out. There
Next fall.
ain't a
It'll be
flicker one
all
going
that
on.
wood will be dry by next fall, and it'll
Yeah.
burn it during a rainstorm in the fall before it gets packed with ice and snow.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Have a lot of fun. All right.
All right.
Well, thanks, tubers and footers, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. You guys have a good night. I don't know what my thing's doing here. Sorry, didn't mean to touch it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, thanks, Scotty. Good
Be
night,
safe
Uncle
out
Bones.
there.
Yep. And what do you always say?
Stay strapped or get clapped,
Yeah.
especially when you're poking around in Bigfoot woods. Apparently, sometimes they have an attitude, from what some people are saying.
Scary. You got anything to say, Joe?
Well, if you're going anywhere there might be Bigfoot, there's probably other critters too, so
Yeah,
keep some heat on you.
Keep some heat.
even deer can be dangerous.
Oh yeah, wouldn't want to get run over by one of them.
No, we've all heard that song about Grandma
Grandma
getting run
got
over
run
by the
over.
reindeer, so it can be dangerous.
Yeah. There's that. Pyro. It's a date. See you next fall. We got another pyro here wanting to see
Oh,
that
right on.
flamer flaming on.
Might have to mix up some thermite to really get it going.
Something. Man, that wood is just too wet.
Yeah. Too much snow.
We
Too much
We,
ice.
we cut a big path right into the middle of that pile and just stuffed it full of dry wood, and that's what was raging there in the beginning. But it just, once that dry wood burned up, we thought it would add enough heat to get everything else going, but there's just too much ice and snow in there.
Yeah.
So
Oh well, it was fun while it lasted. What
Yeah.
was it? I always do 400 miles from Chicago.
is that out in the boonies? I was in Chicago a couple of times in my life. Made it to the top of the Sears Tower when I was a kid.
Wow.
Good view from up there.
I've never been up there.
I think at the time it may have been the tallest tower in the world, if I remember right.
Huh.
It has long been eclipsed since then, though.
Yeah. What's that one in?
I think the Burj Khalifa is still the tallest. But I think that's...
Isn't China working on a bigger one or something?
There's a few working on allegedly record-breaking buildings, and I don't remember... It's going up in the Arab Emirates again, I believe.
Hmm.
And it's supposed to be like 20% taller, I think, than the Burj Khalifa.
Wow. That's a big building.
That's huge. Man, imagine the movement in the top of that building.
Oh, that'd be freaky.
Yeah. That was one thing that freaked me out in New York, was being in those top of those buildings.
Feeling a move.
Feeling a move.
Oh yeah, that's unnerving.
Yes, very unnerving. I like our Alaska small buildings. They can't get too high. All right, cool. Well, awesome, tubers and footers. Well, you guys have an awesome night, and we will see you tomorrow sometime, it sounds like. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will talk to you guys soon. Bye, tubers and footers. See ya. Have a good night. Sleep well.